Fighting Illini, UConn Huskies, rematch, Black Friday at Madison Square Garden. Oh boy.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome one, welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day. Once again, I apologize for my voice. I realized, or I got confirmed earlier on Monday, that it's strep throat. So your boy's out here trying to produce content each and every day, as he promises, because he's promised content each and every day. But I continue to do it because you guys support the show by hitting that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That's the only thing I ask for in return. Again, I'm just apologizing for the quality of my voice. It's not your audio speakers, it's me. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about the news that was leaked. John Rothstein, I believe, is the one who leaked it. I don't think it's confirmed yet, but the University of Illinois and the UConn Huskies are going to be playing at Madison Square Garden this upcoming season on Black Friday. So basically, the Illinois fans, the last time we played at Madison Square Garden, we lost by 40 plus points. The last time Illinois played the UConn Huskies, well, we all know 31-0. So Brad Underwood said, hey, why don't I just combine those two nightmares? If that doesn't prove to you that Brad Underwood is a psychopath, I don't know what does. Let's rewind a little bit. If you're like me, the 2024 Elite Eight loss to UConn still stings. The eventual national champions put together a jaw-dropping run to end our tournament dreams in brutal fashion, and we've been living in social media embarrassment ever since. Final score, 77-52, but honestly, it wasn't even that close. It wasn't just a loss. It was a statement by UConn. And now we got our chance at revenge on one of the biggest stages in all of basketball. This upcoming game will take place on November 28th, Black Friday, at the legendary Madison Square Garden. This is now the fourth year in a row that Illinois is going to be playing at MSG, and it speaks volumes, again, of the national respect that Brad Underwood is building for this Illinois program. Illinois is a draw. Madison Square Garden wouldn't be interested in Illinois. It wouldn't allow them to come for a fourth straight year if we weren't drawing. Illinois is getting primetime matchups in primetime locations. Now, quite honestly, I'm not sure I'm as excited about this matchup compared to the ones in the past, only because when you think about Florida Atlantic, when you think about Texas, when you think about Duke, when you have a game at Madison Square Garden, for the most part, those are neutral territories. For the most part, those are games where you can expect at least a 50-50 Illini presence. Look, Illinois' traveling crowd is severely underrated. If there's a marquee matchup in a marquee city, Illinois fans will show up. But that also applies to the UConn Huskies fans. Not only is UConn arguably the premier program in the country right now, with arguably the best head coach in all of college basketball, but their fans are obsessive. Everything we think we are as Illini fans, as our Husky fans. And trust me, I know because I experienced a lot of them during that Elite Eight game. So admittedly, I do kind of question if it's wise for Brad to schedule this type of game, which is essentially going to be a road game. Not just a road game to a UConn Huskies team that, let's just talk about the matchup. Bart Torvik's early projections have Illinois ranked as number 9 in the country heading into the season, while UConn checks in right behind at number 11. So again, we're not talking about a revenge game. We're potentially talking a top 15 showdown. For UConn, the Huskies lose some NBA talent, but bring back serious firepower. Alex Caravan, Solomon Ball, and the rebounding machine, Terrace Reed Jr. They've also added a name that Illini fans are familiar with, five-star freshman, I might add, Braylon Mullins, and Georgia transfer Silas Damari Jr., who averaged 13.5 points last season. Meanwhile, Illinois, of course, we've loaded as well. We return a strong veteran core between Boswell, Thomas Slavovicic, and Ben Hummerkaus, and we've brought in an intriguing international recruiting class that adds scoring, punch, and versatility. This is going to be a battle-tested Illinois squad that isn't going to be intimidated by the bright lights of MSG. It's funny, you just take a look at this schedule that Illinois has put together thus far that we know. Brad Underwood isn't ducking anybody. The Illini, as of now, are going to be playing Alabama at the United Center in Chicago, Tennessee in Nashville, Missouri, of course, in the bragging rights game, and now UConn in Madison Square Garden. All neutral site battles, air quotes, all top 30 caliber opponents, and all opportunities to show the country Illinois basketball is legit. This marks just the 5th all-time meeting between Illinois and UConn. The Huskies lead the series 3-1, and our lone win came back in 1938. That's right, 49-23 was the score. And no, I was not there to cover it. In all seriousness, this is the kind of game, again, which just establishes Illinois where they're at. And where they're at is the national spotlight. We've made several straight NCAA tournaments at this point. We've been to the Elite Eight, and we've rebuilt the brand. Last year, Illinois games were some of the top rated on all of television. And because of that, we're able to lock in matchups with Blue Bloods and defending champs like UConn. It's also another sign of Underwood's long-term vision. Like it or not, he's not just building a team to compete in the Big Ten Conference. He's building one that can win nationally. These high-stakes, high-visibility games help with recruiting, help with engagement, and help the program grow. So what should we expect on Black Friday? UConn is going to bring size, a defense, and, of course, a championship pedigree. Illinois is going to bring experience, physicality, and hopefully a chip on the shoulder energy, trying to wipe the taste of last year's debacle in Madison Square Garden out of their mouths, and also avenge the loss from 2 seasons ago. But this isn't just about payback. This is about showing we belong in that top tier. I know I've talked about some of my hesitations about scheduling this game, but it's not all negative. I do like the idea that Brad scheduled this game because UConn, no matter what, every single year plays a style of basketball that you don't necessarily find in the Big Ten Conference. The Big Ten doesn't necessarily have the type of long, big guards that, again, we just saw 2 years ago in that Elite Eight loss to the UConn Huskies. They're going to be coached well. Again, I've said this before. I think Dan Hurley's the best coach in college basketball, and I don't know if there's anyone that's a close second. And so seeing a team like the UConn Huskies, I think, could be a really good test for this Illinois squad, who, again, is going to be having a lot of new faces this season. Now, granted, they are veteran faces. They're not going to be freshmen, but it'll be nice for that new European flavor that we have to see what NBA flavor UConn is going to bring. And maybe that's the type of experience that's going to help at some point in March. And who knows? Illinois having scheduled UConn early in the season may be a long-term play by Brad Underwood, knowing that this way we don't have to play UConn so early in the NCAA tournament should we be lucky enough to get there in March. Obviously, I'm kidding. Or am I? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Which game are you most looking forward to out of the 4? Is it Alabama at the United Center? UConn at MSG? Do you like Brad Underwood's strategy of playing the best? I do have my thoughts on it. I've talked about this on the show previously, and I'll probably talk about it later on again in a future episode. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. And you can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Me personally, I'm spending way too much money going out to eat. I got 2 kids. I'm tired. It's easy to go get food from the fast food restaurant. I know I got to keep that in check. And with Monarch Money, instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. And welcome back to Locked On Illini. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to that channel. I have a poll up on my channel asking which player you want me to focus on for this week's Friday Player Spotlight. I believe it's Andrej Stojakovic, Tomislav Ivicic, Zvonimir Ivicic, or Ty Rodgers. You let me know who you want me to talk about on Friday. I'll probably close the poll sometime Wednesday night so I can hammer out that video for you. It's a way for me to continue acknowledging the community that continues to grow, which, by the way, if you're looking to join over 300 other Illini fans, there's a link in the description to a Discord where we're talking Illini sports all day, every day. I actually dropped a link earlier today about the story I'm just about to talk about. Let's just get right into that. Early Monday, longtime NFL standout Frank Ragnow announced his retirement from professional football. And for most NFL fans, Ragnow's story is about his time in Detroit, being one of the toughest and most reliable centers in the league. But for Illini fans, Frank Ragnow's story connects us to something even deeper, something that speaks to the very heart of our program, family. And I mean FamILLy. And the man behind that culture, Bret Bielema. First off, shout out to Matthew Stevens from the Illini guys who brought this article to my attention. I did not know of this. I obviously saw the Frank Ragnow news. I have a couple friends in my life who are Detroit Lions fans, and I know they're severely bummed out about it. But I didn't realize about this connection that I'm about to explain to you right now. Let me take you back to 2016. Before he was wearing orange and blue, before he was building the pipelines in state or reviving Illinois football from the ashes, Bret Bielema was the head coach at Arkansas. His starting center at the time, you guessed it, Frank Ragnow. That same year, after a win over Alcorn State, Frank received news that would change his life forever. His father, John, had passed away suddenly from a heart attack. What happens next is why this story matters today. Coach Bielema, his head coach, didn't just call. He didn't just send flowers. Coach Bret Bielema, he got on a plane. He and his wife, Jen, flew with Frank Ragnow back to Minnesota, sat with him in the basement of the facility, and supported him like, you guessed it, family. Then Bielema said something in this article, which it's very hard to forget, and it's one of those where I hope it touches you the way it touched me. Bret says, in recruiting, I tell parents I can't promise them playing time. I can't promise them a degree, but I tell them I will look after your son, and I mean it. That wasn't for headlines. That was who he was. That was who he is. That same sense of loyalty, protection, and compassion, that's what Illinois football is built on today. The FamILLy motto isn't just branding. It's a promise. It's a lifestyle. It's a promise to the walk-ons, to the transfers, to the 3-stars, to the All-Americans. Bret Bielema doesn't fake culture. He lives it. Look, as of this recording, Illinois is in the top 12, I believe, in recruiting for football. And I know they're not going to stay there. They may not even stay in the top 15, maybe not even the top 20. But the top 25 is feasible. The top 30 is feasible. If you watched Monday's episode, you heard Luke Altmaier, the senior quarterback, talk about why he stayed at Illinois. Because of the culture, because of the environment this coaching staff has built within that program. And then you see stories like this, and all of a sudden, it's not hard to figure out why you have guys like Gabe Yakis spurn other SEC suitors who are offering a lot of money. Luke Altmaier, again, on yesterday's episode, said it himself that he turned down a lot of money. You're talking about 7+ figures to go play in the SEC. And this is something that's it's very normal in the Illinois locker room. We just don't necessarily hear much about it. If there's one thing that Bret Bielema has always done really well, it's develop talent. Sure, these Georgias, the Arkansas may not want the players that Illinois is recruiting when they're 3 stars, but after a year or two in the Illinois system, when Bret and the coaching staff builds up these players to the max of their abilities, that's when those blue bloods come calling. And that's when a lot of these players have a very difficult decision ahead of them. Do they chase the money? Do they go play for a national championship, which at one point was unfeasible at a school like Illinois? But now Bret is here. And more kids, you're seeing it this year. 18 starters are returning on this year's football team. More and more of those players are spurning the big bucks offered by other teams and staying at Illinois. Because, sure, the team itself won 10 games last year and quite honestly has a chance to repeat that performance this year. Sure, it's a team that's going to be one of the best teams in the Big Ten Conference, a team that you're going to be in a winning culture here in Champaign. But more importantly than that, and not just for the players, I'm speaking as a father. My son obviously is about 14 years away from deciding where he wants to go to college. But seeing quotes like we just saw about what he can and can't promise. He can't promise playing time. I respect that. He can't promise that they graduate. I respect that. Both of those are ultimately on the kid. But what he can promise is to be that father figure that I can't be because I'm not there. And so, yeah, Illinois has been snake bitten by a lot of stories, especially recently, about players, at least on the basketball side, whose parents tend to have more of an influence than Illini fans grow to like. Maybe even the coaching staff, Brad Underwood and the coaching staff like. But at least on the football side, I could absolutely say it's very comforting. And it's understandable to me now why all these players are spurning these other opportunities. Because at Illinois, they will win football games. But more important than that, at Illinois, they'll mature. They'll grow into men. And as parents, that's all we really want. College is a place where there's a lot of distractions. A lot of things can go wrong. You want to make sure that when your son does go off to college, that they're under the right supervision, that they're under the right sort of guidance. And I can say with absolute confidence, for at least the next dozen years or so, the Illinois football program absolutely is under Bret Bielema. A couple news and notes before I let you go. Jackson Buchanan on the golf team. Congratulations to him. He qualified for the U.S. Open at Oakmont after a couple -9s, shooting 63s. Former Illini linebackers Kevin Hardy and Simeon Rice are on the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. Congratulations to those guys. Hopefully we can have some more orange and blue entering the College Football Hall of Fame. I did have some disappointing news. Illini baseball standout Vitas Valancius has entered the transfer portal. Valancius had a monster season for the Illini, hitting .348 with 7 home runs and 58 RBIs on the way to all Big Ten honors. Also had 33 walks to 28 strikeouts. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I am the expert, knowledgeable college baseball fan. I know Illinois' baseball program has been very good, but this is not necessarily a story on Illini baseball as it is Illini or college baseball in general. It's just tough for these programs in the North to compete with the programs in the South. If you take a look at the Big Ten performances, just overall through the season and now in the postseason, they just have not lived up to the expectation that a conference like the Big Ten should. Now, moving forward, how do you fix that? Maybe that's a story for another day. If that's something you're interested in, let me know. I can do a little bit more research on it. But the Big Ten right now obviously is in an environment, or maybe climate is the better word, disadvantage when it comes to baseball season. You have those schools down south where it's sunny all day, every single day. You can practice year round. And the schools up north, well, they can't. I hate the idea of Illinois anything, or Big Ten anything, to be fair, being the feeder league in any sort of sport. Okay, maybe at this point I'm a little too spoiled in that regard. But look, the Big Ten Conference, we're making a lot of money. And so at some point, a decision is going to have to be made, in particular with baseball, because baseball is probably the biggest sport when you stop thinking about football and when you stop thinking about basketball. And Illinois here is at a crossroads because, if Illinois baseball was an afterthought, that's one thing, but it's not. Mike Small is one of the best coaches in the entire country. And I know that even though I never really followed Illinois baseball before I started covering Illini sports. Everyone knows the name Mike Small. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame himself one day. But at a school like Illinois, you're going to have limitations, and not limitations that are just for Illinois. It seems to be. This is something that's happening to schools everywhere on the northern side of the United States. And so there's going to be a lot of schools out there that are going to have to make a very tough decision on what kind of investments they want to make on the sport. I'm curious on your guys' thoughts. When you were in college, do you follow Illini baseball? Do you follow college baseball in general? Again, I saw this news, and the fact that he had the numbers that he did, I knew this would be very disappointing for a lot of Illini baseball fans everywhere. And so I thought I'd make a mention of it, at least in the final segment. Before I let you guys go, in about 17 days, June 20th, if you're interested, we're going to have our first Locked On Illini group. We're going to have our first Locked On Illini group outing. We're going to be meeting in Wrigleyville at some point. There's a game at 1:20 between the Cubs and the Seattle Mariners. I'll be there very early in the morning, meeting with those people who maybe can't make it to the game, but also stick around Wrigleyville after the games. I think we're going to have a good, solid group out there. So I'd love to meet some of you if you live in the Chicago area. Look, even if you're not a Cubs fan, which, by the way, you absolutely should be. This team is very, very fun to watch this year. But even if you're not, make your way out to Wrigleyville. I'd love to share a laugh, share a drink, share some stories with all of you. And just a few days later, June 25th, there's going to be a meetup for the NBA Draft Lottery, where hopefully we get to see 2 Illini players. Look, Kasparis looks like he's about locked in to the lottery. But as I said earlier, even when he was mocked in the 20s, I had a feeling that Will Riley could play himself into the lottery. I'm not confident in saying that yet, but I do think that he's sneaking up higher and higher on those mock drafts, and something to keep an eye on. So again, if that's something you're interested in, either of those, or if you just have a story for the show that you want me to cover, a sports story, anything Illini related, let me know. Email me at talkillini@gmail.com. I'm here for you. Again, I'm here every single day providing you guys with Illini content, even when days like today, I have strep throat. So again, I apologize for the quality of my voice. Hopefully it'll get better in the next day or two. But I like to say it is my show, but I want it to be just as much your guys' show. So I'm always taking your feedback, and I always appreciate the fact that you guys take time out of your day to listen. Thank you for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and send it to other Illini fans in your life. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.